Hi, welcome to Oxy-Dry. And this is a repeat customer. I've been here a few times. This is a basement area, about 20-year-old carpet. Overall, it's actually in pretty good shape. There are a few marks. Nothing terribly drastic going on here, but this is, again, an example or an opportunity, anyway, for me to just demonstrate how incredibly well the rotary machine, with the right attachments, will lift and restore pile. This is I think it's actually a nylon, although it's a Berber sort of multi-double loop style. Here you can see the texture is quite standing up quite a bit more here than in the areas where it's kind of compressed down. So this will be a good opportunity to just demonstrate that the rotary is very effective at lifting the pile. You might hear or read comments from people saying that the rotaries will flatten the pile and that they're not good for lifting the pile, and I've never understood why people say that, because obviously I've been using it for 30 years straight, and I've always found that it lifted the pile fine. So let's do it. I'll just get rid of this out of the way. Oh, immediately, absolutely immediately, you can see the pile lifting up. Look at the texture. It immediately stand up. The yarn is standing up because the agitation of the fibre pad, which is a hogs hair fibre pad in this case, is lifting, separating, and pulling up the yarn, and it's doing an exceptional job of pulling up the carpet pile. It's not flattening it down, it's lifting it up. So I don't really know why people continually repeat that particular myth, but there's a lot of misunderstanding, or people that don't really. I think people tend to repeat what they hear from other people without actually maybe experiencing it themselves. But I mean, I've always wondered why people would say that, because I've always found with the right attachment, the rotary is fantastic at lifting pile. It's actually, and that's one of the reasons why, sometimes people ask me, sometimes they ask me, well, why don't you use a CRB? And it's like, well, why? I don't need to use a CRB. I can lift the pile very effectively with a fibre pad, particularly the hog's hair, or if I want to, I can put a brush on. It looks fantastic. I've never found the need for it, and I have used CRBs a lot in the past. In fact, in 1985, I started up a carpet cleaning business in Victoria using CRB system, using the host system. I've done every single method there is. I'm one of the very few people in the industry that can actually honestly say that. I've started with Von Schroeder, I've used the host system, I've used rotary shampoo, I've used hot water extraction, both truck mount and steam cleaning and portable, and remember the stain right here. I've been able to draw upon all of my experiences with all these different methods to really develop Oxy-Dry, which is what we now call the SETT method, soil extraction transfer technology. I've been able to draw upon all of the methods that I've had experience with over the decades, over 50 years now, and apply it to what I do with this machine, with a rotary. And the reason I choose the rotary is because, in my experience, it is the best overall option. I'm not saying it's the only option, I'm not saying it's always the best option, but for particularly the type of cleaning that I almost always do, which is primarily residential, and I focus on high-end residential. That's our market. This has been or proven to be over the decades the right choice for us. Now there is wear in this carpet, and I'll never fully unwear it, as it were, but it is lifting the pile rather well. You can actually see the yarn standing up as much as it can. But I choose what I clean with because I think it's, for me, it's exactly what I wanted. It's nice and simple and easy. I like the fact that it is so simple. It's effective and consistent, reliable. I have many times thought of, I actually even tried a few years back to switch over to the OP system, but I just couldn't justify what I was experiencing using the OP machine on residential. I don't even really like it all that much on commercial. You see all the way the pile's lifted up? It always end up being laying one way or the other, depending on the last direction that you go across the carpet. But depending on where I go, it always will lay whatever direction that I end up going. So don't let that mislead you. And of course, I will groom this carpet. Not all carpets need grooming, but this one will. I'll just use my Hoover Hushtone and set the pile with that. But again, you can see the yarn lifting, fluffing up again. Anyway, I know that there's those that don't agree with what I say here, but that's okay. I'm just showing what I am observing and learning, and over the years I've been able to draw upon, as I say, every carpet cleaning method that there is. I'm very glad that I was able to experience using the Von Schroeder system. It's an incredible machine to use. Very mesmerizing, I would say. And in the right circumstances, it does clean exceptionally well. But overall, it's not a good machine. But and of course, now I think they finally threw in the towel. I'm not positive about that, but it just isn't a viable system for various reasons. The host system, they ended up with a lot of problems, particularly with supply of their product. They're actually in the same building as the Von Schroeder, and the host and the Von Schroeder, basically it's a big family that was running the whole thing. It's an interesting story and an incredible history, really. But you know, and it's unfortunate, I guess, in a way, because CRB machines came into a lot of popularity in the last 10 years or so, but the host machine and their whole thinking of how they would do things, they never sort of caught the wave of they could have been the dominant machine on the market, and they're made in the States. So, but they just didn't do that. They could have, I think. They needed to do some improvements to their machines, because they were never, ever intended to be used in a wet environment, whereas the CRB machines that came along later were never really, they weren't really focused on using their systems with powder, like the host powder, which is actually ground up corn husks. But it's interesting to see how things have changed over the years. But I saw writing on the wall for Von Schroeder and Host a long time ago, and that was one of the reasons why, because of I had the experiences I did over the decades, I recognized that the the future was, in my opinion, was the rotary. And of course, when I started 30 years ago, there was no, OP wasn't on the map. I guess maybe there was one or two manufacturers, but it just never had taken off. So anyway, it's interesting to see how things change. And but 30 years ago, when I started with Oxy-Dry, I had an idea that the rotary had great potential and really needed just to be developed, and the technique of using it needed to be maybe a little bit better. And I, right from the beginning, decided that shower feeding was the way to go, and I still think it is. That's my opinion, based on my many years of experience. But you can certainly do well if you spray the carpet ahead of time, or if you have a machine with a spray system on it. And there's actually more than one manufacturer that does that. I think Jenny has a machine with a spray system on it. And the Centaur, which is a Canadian made, I think they also have a version of their machine with a spray system. But it's actually kind of neat that we do have so many different choices. So, it's not like one size fits all. There's different ways to approach how you do it, and whether you use a rotary or an OP or even a CRB system, if that's what you want to do. But anyway, I've been putting out my videos for more than 10 years and just kind of been blowing the trumpet, as it were, for the rotary machine. And I guess I will continue to do it as long as I can, because I still don't see anything negative about using the rotary machine. I've never found any of the supposed drawbacks that people claim are there. I don't find them. And one of the drawbacks is the claim that the rotary flattens the pile, and in the meantime I'm out cleaning carpets with my rotary and lifting pile all over the place. So okay, I don't understand why people continually repeat these things. But the other one, of course, is the idea that the rotary only cleans one side of the fiber, and the answer to that is no. It cleans 360 degrees on the carpet fiber as you move the machine over the carpet. The only place where it doesn't is right along the edge, where it doesn't matter. It absolutely does not matter. And I know that because I've been doing it for 30 years. Anyway, there we've just gone over the whole carpet. There were a few little spots. I don't know if you noticed them as I was going, and they've all come out without a problem. Go back to the beginning and switch. We're going to go with the green stripe pad on this job. Feels fairly wet. Again, you can see the pile lifted up all over the place. We're having a rather warm day today. It's going up to 36. I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit, but in the 80s, I guess. And then we're going to go up to 39 on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I've got a repeat commercial condo I've been doing for many years, and although there is air conditioning, it's the swamp cooler type, so I'm doing 4 large hallways, and it's usually pretty humid, and that can create a problem for me. The sweat. And anyway, we'll have to address that. Hopefully it will be all right. My wife suggested I put a fan on my in the hallway when I clean, and that's actually not a bad idea, but it won't work. What I should do is I should mount a fan on my machine and have it blow on my face while I clean. It's actually not a bad idea. Maybe I'll do that. But anyway, as you see, the carpet is cleaning up just wonderful. And again, even the rayon pad is actually lifting and separating the yarn very effectively. And then when I run the vacuum over, it'll really finish that off nicely. Again, I'm going forward as much as I can. Try to avoid running over and having to kick out my power cord out of the way. I almost always try and do that. It's actually quite cool in this basement. That's nice. Fortunately, I rarely end up in houses where there isn't air conditioning, although there are occasions when that occurs, and that's not pleasant. You do want to have air conditioning in the Okanagan. And I think it's pretty much a necessity. We can get over 40 degrees, and that's getting pretty darn hot. I remember when I first moved to the Okanagan about 34 years ago. I lived up here for about a year and a half and then went back to Victoria and then ended up coming back. But I came up here and I was running a truck mount operation. It was my first experience with an Okanagan summer, having lived in Victoria where the median temperature is about 72 Fahrenheit, I guess. About, was that 22? Anyway, I remember very distinctively that driving around this truck mount, and it had no air conditioning. It would have been useless anyway because it was a Hydromaster, and the heat exchangers are sitting right between the front seats, and it literally is like driving around with your heater on all the time. It was just unbelievable how hot that thing would get inside. And I'd never experienced that kind of heat before. It was just unreal. But that was over 30 years ago now, so I was able to tolerate it a little bit better, not better than I do now. Now I find the heat really could get to me. It's a sign of the age. There's actually quite a few little sprouts on this carpet. But actually, it looks like it's cleaning very well. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to end the video here because I want to try and preserve my battery. I got a big job coming up next. Hopefully I'll be able to do some good recording there. So, and this one is just going nice everything's going straight forward here, so there's not much excitement here, I don't think. But anyway, so I'll let you go. So thank you very much for watching, and have a good day.